But there is this civil society guy, I'm very impressed with this gentleman. I'll be honest with you guys. Very, very impressed with everything he's saying. Because again, like I said, I didn't know we had somebody like these in Sierra Leone that are civil society activists who is picking up these facts. Because he goes, maybe this is somebody who listens to people like myself. Maybe, I don't know, right? And but I'm listening to him, like when he's speaking, it's like I'm speaking. And I'm very impressed with that. So I said I want to share that with you.
A lot of things are happening with the judiciary. They're doing very well. But again, I want to say this again, just to add to what he's saying. Access to justice.
Yes.
It never started during the era of Babadi Edwards, Chief Justice. It started under Justice Timbo during the era of Pakaba, when the Chinese people came out and bashed at the judiciary. Chapter 3, it talks about the judiciary, the police, especially the OSD. You call them SSD at the time. They do not have any modus operandi they adhere to. They can just go at random and kill. Nobody will arrest them. The law protect them. So the Chinese report recommends that they remove that arm from the police. The judiciary, they said, because they were aiding and abetting everything, giving bad judgment and no access to justice, people took upon themselves, went to the bush and came to town. We had 10 years of uninterrupted rebel war. And so there had been access since that time. Defeat forms the judiciary since that time till date to grant access. We have courts. Of course, you agree with me that we do not have enough courts even in Freetown. Courts are sent, cases are sent to Babadi courts. Lumbi don't have a court. Lumbi is growing like Eastern Police, like a CBD. We need a court there to reduce the number. If you go to Babadi court, you have people going there from Monday to Friday. The cases have not been heard because you have very small courts, court number 7, court number 6, where they have these IG files. You have children's file, sexual gentlemen. So a lot of challenges within the judiciary. We need more courts. Secondly, we need more magistrates. Justice Finn, my then lawyer, addressed us in 2011 at Kimi Hotel, spoke about the challenges within the judiciary. How many judges do we have? A problem that is identified. Gradually it's happening, it's going on. But what is happening now is that the way judges we have administer judgment is the problem. That's why I want to anchor.
And how's that a problem?
Now let me come again. Section 120 in the Constitution established the judiciary. 73 established the parliament.
Right.
40 established the executive.
Yes.
The parliament is supposed to vet the judiciary.
Wow.
State House is elected.
Wow.
President,
I love this brother.
Vice President. You have the parliament. We elect them to go. The speaker is elected by members of parliament. The judiciary, nobody elects them.
Right.
That is an advantage that we have. That they are supposed to be independent. The JLSC, nominate them. Send them to the president. And the president, of course, with his pen, send them to parliament. They are nominated. I listened to Dr. Abla Conte, one of the finest black jurists in the world. Dr. Eo Conte. Yeah? He was talking about the judiciary, giving comments. He said, every other profession, you have people who give the profession a bad rap. That was a word that he used continuously. So now, we have judges identified, pinned to render judgment against specific individuals. We are calling out to judges, please. We are the ones that are paying you from a CIF. Don't compromise. If you keep compromising, you're going to provoke another war, be it civil arrest or whatever, like it happened in 1991. Now, you have cases. For example, I will not go to the political party cases, like the Palo Conte case. That case, we have what is called ironclad cases. I work a bit with the special courts, and I was sent as an intern in The Hague. I went there to witness Chancellor's trial in 2008. I saw how they were trying Slobodan Milosevic in The Hague, 2008. But then I was just a new man in civil society, very young, relation in my youth. And I see the way judgments were given, how lawyers argue the law. Coming to Sierra Leone in a municipal jurisdiction, you see the way how cases have been handled. The Palo Conte case, that was a case. I looked at the 1963 Treason Trial Act, and I look at the Treason Report of 87. juxtapose those two ideas. I'm not a lawyer. I'm an accountant. I get accounting. But because of as an advocate, I just have to read. You see these things, and the office of the administrator or whatever, the how you call it, AG's office, proffered that Palo committed treason. One person, one pistol committed treason. That case took how many months? And it's attracted Amnesty International from the UK to come to Sierra Leone. Treason has never happened in the last 20 years. What is happening? That matter was not given fair judgment. The man was not guilty of offense. The man was never a recidivist to have been given 12 months in prison. So these are things. You're coming out to other judgments. The 10 opposition MPs who were removed from parliament. That judgment, I'm afraid, in the next 5 or 10 years, the wisdom comes in. They will use that and they will say that was judgment. We will perfect this judgment. When it is perfected, we'll have one party state. I'm afraid if that judgment is perfected in the future, post SVP, which will happen, except we're not going to stay there forever, they will use the same judges in the same judiciary to say, look at what happened. They will cut the precedents. 5-10 years ago, it happened. So these 40 or 50 MPs belonging to the opposition, SVP now, we only need 10 of them to sit. 30, go. Back, AP takes over the entire parliament. We are afraid. People have secured tenure in office. They only stuck in parliament for 12 months. They seated and they voted. Sitting members of parliament relieved of their duty. No appeal case was had. Till date, it's almost 5 years now. 60 months. No appeal case had. What happened? What is wrong with the appeal process? I'm not a lawyer. Tell me what was wrong. If APC can post SVP, be it NGC, they will use similar things to justify that. Now, you have other cases I don't want to budge into, but you have this case that these are the problems that the judiciary seem to be having. But in terms of access, and I'm seeing the way they are handling the judiciary. There you go, you are checked, you go. A lot of things are happening. Administratively, they are very, very good. Perfect. Kudos to the Chief Justice. But in terms of administering justice, how you get a judgment, that part of matter. You look at the ranking now in West Africa. There are 17 countries in West Africa. Where is Sierra Leone judiciary? Check. Secondly, come to Africa. South African judiciary are the best.
Babadi, quickly,
guys,
assessing the judiciary.
This is powerful coming from this brother. I mean, I never knew we had a civil society, someone like this, but listening to this, it sounds very impressive. And the only thing is, I just think these guys should be a little bit more vocal, and they should have been a little bit more vocal earlier than now, because when all of these violations were happening, maybe there are recordings of this particular guy, Babadi Thomas, who is speaking up here now, citing the cases of Paolo Conte, that of the 10 members of parliament that were removed from parliament, right? You see, this is why we say, don't condone unconstitutionality now, because when you condone anything that is unconstitutional today, it's going to fester on, and people are going to be very, very angered. And at some point, we are human beings. We all have the tendency of revenge, no matter how long it takes. Sometimes you want to revenge. Some of these politicians that we are talking about, we're calling them out. Oh man, they hit our guts because they know that what we're saying is the truth. And if the people are aware enough, they will not give them the opportunity to sit in positions of authority and power. They know these facts. So the thing is this, what this gentleman is saying as a civil society activist, I just wished it would have had a platform to be able to speak on these issues as and when they were happening. And not only that, to ensure that the members of parliament, those in authority, should make sure they stand against these governments to ensure that these things don't happen. Because again, like he's saying, in the future, 5 years, 10 years from now. But what we want to prevent in Sierra Leone, and why we are on social media, the reason why people like myself, we advocate, is to ensure that we save our country from future disasters. Every one of you guys, if you've been following me for quite a while, I always give instances of the 1964 situation. When Albert Milty Magai died and Albert Magai took over. Everything that Albert Magai did was what led to the 1991 brutal rebel war. And for 10 years, we had an uninterrupted rebel war. People's hands got cut off. Pregnant women's belly got split open. Whilst the rebels were arguing if it's a boy, if it's a girl, stuff like that. It happened in Sierra Leone. People's head getting chopped up. We saw it in Sierra Leone. It happened. It happened. Even myself, I saw people getting killed right in front of my face. 1998 or so, when the rebels were trying to come through, to the western part of the town. I saw innocent people getting killed. I know all of these facts. I saw these things happen. We should not allow this to happen again. All of these happened because in 1964 and 1967, Albert Magai passed all these terrible laws. And so when all these laws were passed, what actually happened? We saw that Sheikh Stevens came to power in 1967, 1968. You all know that there were 3 other coups that actually occurred within that period. 3 counter coups, because why? Albert Magai involved the military. When you talk about Brigadier Lansana, right? After that, Sealjok and Smith, they came and took power from Brigadier Lansana and Inga Norman. And then Sealjok and Smith did not want to hand over power. That's when Brigadier Rogers and Bangura and all these other people came in, and they finally brought Sheikh Stevens. You guys know all about these things. All of this stuff happened in Sierra Leone, all because of the bad laws that were passed by Albert Magai using the parliament, the 1965 Public Order Act, all of these things, putting the libel laws into effect, right? Where journalists were arrested, locked up, like what is actually happening now. What they're doing to journalists is when they write and speak up against the government, of course, they charge them high fees and all kinds of stuff so that they cannot be able to perform the journalistic duties. They don't give them subventions anymore, right? All of these things that we see, So we are trying to prevent that. That is why we're on social media, to ensure that the precedents, what has happened, is not repeated. Because what chances do we know? APC can come to power and say, you know what? SLPP removed 10 members of parliament. Let's triple that number. Let's kick out 30 of the members of parliament. What is going to happen? What are they going to do about it? If they do anything, the people that come out, move around, the government says, let's kill them. Let's shoot them all. What is going to happen? This is how people are going to go, and say, what? Let's go back and take up arms against the state. Who's going to suffer?